To crochet the crocodile stitch in the round with increases is actually really simple if you know two really important things. These two things in a demo are coming up next, so stick around. Okay, so before you pick up your hook to make something like this, commit this to memory. Crocheting the crocodile stitch in the round with increases is not much different than increasing in the round with your more basic stitches, so the double crochet, the half double crochet. We're looking specifically at how frequently you increase throughout each foundation round. The crocodile stitch is made up of two rounds, a foundation round and a scale round, and when you increase in this particular stitch, you're doing so on that foundation round. For example, in a standard crochet circle, we know on round 2 that will increase every stitch. Round 3 will increase every other stitch. Round 4 will increase every third stitch, and so on, adding one more stitch in between your increases. For the crocodile stitch, since 2 rounds make up the stitch pattern, the foundation, and the scales, remember that your increasing rounds will always happen on those foundation rounds. Now first, let's define increase for the crocodile stitch. To make an increase for the crocodile stitch, just remember this sequence of stitches. 2 double crochets, chain 2, 2 double crochets. You're always going to do that on your foundation rounds in your designated spot, which is either going to be in the middle of your scale or in between 2 scales from that previous round. When you plan your projects with a crocodile stitch in the round, keep your foundation chain a multiple of 6. Each group of 6 chains will yield 1 scale. So the smallest circle you can start with is 12 foundation chains. That's going to give you 2 crocodile scales. Start your first round, the foundation round, by joining with your first chain. From there, you'll chain 3. You're always going to chain 3. And then you'll double crochet in the same stitch. From there, you'll chain 2, skip 2 chains, and make 2 double crochets in the next. Your repeat for this round, no matter how big or small your circle, is always going to be chain 2, skip 2, 2 double crochets in that third chain. When you have 2 chains remaining, you'll chain 2, you'll skip those last 2 chains, and then join with a slip stitch to your third chain. The second round will be your first scale round. No matter how big or how small your circle, start by chaining 3, then rotate your work and make 4 double crochets around the chain 3 from that previous round. Then you'll chain 1, rotate your work the opposite way, and make 5 double crochets up that next double crochet in the group. We're working 5 on this side because remember that chain 3 counts as a stitch, so technically we have 5 double crochets on each side of our scale. Then we'll chain 1 to finish off the scale. Now your repeat for this round is to skip the next group of 2 double crochets. You're always going to do that. Rotate your work, make 5 double crochets down the first double crochet of that next group. Chain 1, rotate, and make 5 double crochet up the next double crochet of that same group of 2. Then chain 1 to finish it off. When you get to the end of your round, you'll join with a slip stitch to your third chain of your first scale. Remember, the foundation rounds are your increasing rounds. If at this point you want your round to be bigger, increase every designated spot just as you would for the second round of a plain old double crochet circle. Chain 3 and double crochet in the same space. That's your first group of 2 double crochets. Chain 2 and make 2 double crochets in the same spot. This group of stitches is your first increase. From there, make a chain 2, and you're always going to do that in between your increases. Then jump to the next designated spot and increase again. Chain 2 and repeat. So then at the end of this round, don't forget to chain 2 and then join with a slip stitch to your third chain, then proceed to your scale round. Remember, the crocodile stitch consists of 2 rows or rounds in this case that make up the scaled look, a foundation round and a scale round. When increasing the crocodile stitch in the round, you will always increase on your foundation rounds. Now, what if you don't want to start with a small circle? What if you want to make it a little bit bigger? Remember to make your foundation chain a multiple of 6. Complete your first foundation round and scale round, just as you've seen here. But you'll need to figure out when you need to increase. So to do this, count your number of scales and then multiply that number by 2. Then take that number and divide it by 4. That will tell you what designated spot you need to increase on. So if your answer is 1, it means you need to increase every designated spot. If your answer is 2, you need to increase every other designated spot, and so on. Increasing in the round with the crocodile stitch is best suited for projects that are worked bottom up, because as you can see, the scales point downward when we work in this fashion. I would love to know what projects you plan to make with this technique now that you're a pro.